Mr. Mullen.
Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. Mr. Williams, Mr. Stockton, Mr. Hinkle, I kind of feel what you guys are talking about. I've said this over and over again, that our biggest threat anymore to our companies are federal government trying to comply and still be profitable. Mr. Stockton, I found it very interesting that you said, I'll just quit. It's not because of your safety record. It's not from the fact that you can't manage your company and make a profit. It's the fact that it's going to eventually get not worth it, where you can't invest in it. Because, see, there's a fine line between 7% profit margin and being able to reinvest in your company, and 6% profit margin when you just try to maintain your equipment. And when you just try to maintain any company, you begin to die. And that's the whole reason why I sit in front of you today, because we also have over 80 trucks on the road. And what Ms. Farrell and some other groups are trying to push, just simply, it doesn't add up with the industry. If you look at the industry since 1975, 77% fatality. We have reduced fatality rates by 77%. There's something to be said about that. And I commend the industry for the work that you guys have done, constantly working on trying to improve the safety records of our own companies. I tell everybody it's our best interest. None of us want to have an accident. It's our companies, and it's the lives of those that are around us too. Ms. Farrell, I got a quick question, and I'm going to kind of switch gears. But as you're probably aware, I introduced a bill, H.R. 1097, that would ensure the on-duty times not include waiting times in natural gas and oil sites for operators of commercial vehicles transporting supplies and equipment. This is an exemption that had been in place for over 50 years, and for some reason it was taken away in 2012. Can you explain why that was taken away?
Congressman, thank you for that question. The exception policy that applies for oil field operators was not taken away. There are two provisions. One allows oil field operators and servicing organizations to—
Well, ma'am, it actually has been taken away, because we're not allowed— wait time isn't included anymore when we're sitting at a drill site. So what do you mean it has been taken away?
So the first provision uses a 24-hour restart. They take full advantage of it, not unlike the concrete industry. The second exception that you're speaking of, that was put into place by the Interstate Commerce Commission 50 years ago, provides an exception to on-duty.
I know what the exception is.
Yeah,
what I'm saying
yeah.
is, why is that exception not provided anymore? Why was it taken away in 2012? Increasing in the number of trucks on drill sites now, increasing the cost to deliver those supplies have increased now, when essentially when they're waiting at a drill site, it's like a country truck stop. They can go in, get coffee, watch TV, do whatever they can, but now that's having to count as on-duty time.
Yeah, we restated the exception that was put in place by the ICC 50 years ago to
When was it?
allow special equipment that requires specialized training to operate in the oil fields, an exception from the on-duty not driving time. The entities that were excluded from that from the beginning and today now, since they're operating in much higher numbers, are generally water trucks and sand trucks. Now, again, we had a comment period. We received lots of good input.
We always
Yeah,
have.
that's an exception.
I almost crack up all the time when I hear agencies saying we had a comment period, comment period, comment period. It doesn't. The fact is that the industry rate has went up. The trucks on the road have increased, and we have wrote letters to you. We have got zero reply. We've introduced a bill and have got zero comment from you guys on this. Now,
Yeah.
with that being said, before my time runs out, Mr. Hinkle, you made a comment that you'd think we'd be smart enough to figure out exemptions on this when we're talking about 30-minute downtimes. That doesn't always exist in D.C. I'm sure you're probably aware of that. But Ms. Farrell, you made several comments suggesting to Mr. Hinkle and the concrete company of how they could do things. Have you ever been in a concrete truck? Have you ever been to a job site? Have you ever ran a full 24 hours with any construction company?
No.
So for you to make suggestions is saying that everybody that graduates from a college with a business degree is going to be successful in business. You talk about these researches and these studies and all this, but you have had no practical experience yet. Until you have practical experience, what you've learned in college and what you've learned from research and all these studies, it's just numbers and it's just paper. It doesn't really apply yet. My suggestion would be, why don't you go and visit the job site? Since you're the head of the department, since you're the one making these rules, why don't you go to Mr. Hinkle? I bet you he would allow you to run one day in his company and see what he's talking about by this time that is waiting. These individuals, why it doesn't make any sense why someone would have to stop for 30 minutes when they stop every hour, or why they're sitting there waiting for their truck to be loaded. Why they would all of a sudden have to stop. What would be so hard about you actually going and getting hands-on experience other than just having studies? You'd probably learn a lot more.
Nothing stops me, and I look forward to the invitation. And I will say I have been several times reached out to your office to meet with you to talk about the very concerns you've raised, and for some reason that
I have,
been skewed.
ma'am, I have never got I would assure you I would meet with you in a heartbeat. In fact, we could meet tomorrow morning, because I have never had your office reach out to me that I'm aware of.
I'll look forward. We'll call and we'll set that up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think